But the difference with men is that men are mainly visual, where women, they can deal with the physical aspect, and they can, they don't need to necessarily love you or be infatuated by you through your physical appearance.
Okay.
Where men, they prefer a woman that they're like infatuated, or a woman that they're very attractive to physically before anything.
Yes, we know women are not attracted to the physical look as much, but doesn't, even if he's old,
Yeah.
if he has the money, they're after the bag, right?
And I always say to men that are short, you got to combat that with Timbs. You got to get some boots.
Yeah, get some boots.
Some boots that can give you some height.
Give you some range.
So we back again in the studio, and damn, there's a lot of things going on. And on the global scale, when it comes to the world in general, Donald Trump, he just had his inauguration. That was crazy. He signed so many bills coming into office. One of the ones that he signed, which was causing a stir in the general public, was the two-gender policy, where he's only recognizing male and female. And then the other thing was about immigration and getting rid of anybody that was illegal. They're rounding them up. That was the meme on social media. Imagine that.
Well, that's always the thing in like America. Like, I feel like they always have that battle against immigrants, but immigrants help build America like more than the people that live there. So,
but everybody's an immigrant. That's what
like,
I'm
everyone's
confused.
an immigrant. So
let's start with that.
Yes, everyone's an immigrant. So yes, it confuses me that the enemy's the immigrant, but I understand why it works that way. It's because people that are born here, or people that aren't born here, have kids that are born in that society.
Yes.
So technically, the kids that are born in that society aren't immigrants. Their parents are immigrants. So a lot of people come from immigrant families, but of course, if they're first generation now, they can technically they can agree with people like saying Trump for stopping immigration, because at the end of the day, they didn't feel the pressure of being an immigrant. You understand what I'm saying?
I get what you're
even
saying.
if your parents are immigrants, you might not feel the same struggle or care to defend the next batch of immigrants trying to get like a better life in America.
No, I understand that point of view, and I also was trying to explain that to my parents as well. But I was like more, because the thing is, we have to also take into consideration the indigenous people, the indigenous population.
Yes.
That is on this land. They don't even get the privileges that all these foreigners that have come to this land and immigrated on this land, they don't get to bear the fruits of those labors. Like, they don't really get to have a voice. So
Absolutely, yeah.
So they would be the first. They should be the first ones to be complaining about what's going on,
you're
you
right.
know?
You're right.
So
Can't say that
even the
much.
people that were born on this land, they have so much to say about them being born there and how things should be working like this. I get where they're coming from, because what they're trying to say is, if I'm a citizen of this country, I should be able to benefit on this land. So that means I should get first dibs to the jobs. I should get first dibs to the education. I should get first dibs to what the society has to give. And I find that in a way a bit arrogant, because at the end of the day, we're all immigrants. But Muji, you live in the ATL. What's your thoughts on that? Like, when it comes to just like immigration and how people feel about immigration.
Right. Well, I appreciate you guys for having me on the show.
Yeah, man. We
That's good,
appreciate
man.
you for
It's a
coming
pleasure.
out, man.
Yes, sir.
We appreciate you coming out.
So I'm currently residing in ATL, and the part of the city I'm in is a little bit outside of the city in the north.
Okay.
You don't really feel the magnitude of the situation over there when it comes to immigrations. Predominantly in the north, you have a lot of Caucasians, and you have a lot of like Spanish, Latino community. So as of now, you know, what Trump has been saying, we're not really feeling it out there. Like, it's not, I haven't seen people getting arrested or deported as of now. So I think the next few months we'll really see exactly if that actually takes place. So as of now, I don't feel it. You don't feel it at all.
See, that's perfect. That's perfect that we actually have somebody on the ground level that can actually tell you. He has a live feed. You know, he can tell you what's exactly going on in the country. And as he said, like the immigration and stuff of that sort, they're not rounding people up. This is not like some kind
yeah,
of
like what we see, the propaganda we see. But I wanted even just to ask you, generally speaking, with Canadian politics and American politics, because you were seeing like when like they're dealing with the presidential candidates and how people might. I'm imagining like in the States they have like rallies and they have like a bunch of different things going on just to get people together to make the vote for whatever candidate. What do you think the biggest difference is, like politically, that you've seen, like demonstration wise or whatever? Like, what do you think the biggest difference is in American politics compared to like Canadian politics?
I think the biggest difference would be Americans are a lot more passionate. I think they're more hands-on when it comes to the politics out there, and I feel like there's a lot of more rallies, protests. I think overall people are more involved when it comes to politics. So, and I feel like the two sides, Trump and Harris, I really felt like the whole world was it zoomed in on that particular, that time and place when it came to the voting. So I felt like this year, last year, 2024 was a big one when it came to the votes.
When it came to voting?
Yeah.
I think the same thing, but even in America, they always have these like, from recent time, we're seeing that we have a lot of either just gender issues, especially when it comes to like power dynamics, because it's like Harris versus Trump, woman versus man. We've seen this before with like Hillary versus Trump again. And do you think there'll be ever a time where a woman is like leading what they call the free world, like America? Do you think there'll ever be a time where that's the thing, where women are leading?
Do you think they're ready for that?
This country?
I'm not sure if they're ready for it, but I think there will be a time when a female might step up again.
Yeah.
It might be the same type of situation, but I feel like as a people, they need to be ready for that, like collectively, right? Me personally, when I was looking at two candidates, I felt like Trump was more direct. As opposed to Harris, I felt like she beat around the bush too much, and I felt like that wasn't, if I had to choose, I would have definitely chose Trump, just because I feel like he's more direct with his intentions, and he's not beating around the bush as much as Harris would. So I'm not really too involved in politics, but it is good to know what's going on, what people are thinking out there.
No, I get you on that. Same with me. I think it's what's most important to a lot of people is what kind of characteristic traits that a person gravitates to more. And I think right now, in the times we're in, a lot of people like the more direct approach. I think a lot of people been beating around the bush far too long. And now that somebody's calling a spade for a spade, people are gravitating towards it. Not even necessarily that what everything he's saying is right.
For sure.
It's just that if we're choosing between two evils, they're going to choose the devil they know.
Right.
And the fact that the way Trump could kind of express himself and say whatever he wants to say and say it freely and not really giving a damn about people's opinions and who's going to try and cancel him and stuff of that sort is what really gets a lot of followers to really be passionate about him being elected and just...
Plus, it's not his first rodeo, so he's done this before. So I feel like he definitely has that leverage. And again, like you said, not everything he does is going to be correct.
Yes.
And not everything we're going to actually, agree with. But I felt like when it comes to, he speaks his mind. Sometimes I feel like with Harris, she was a bit... It's hard to know what her real intentions were. This is what I'm trying to say. So
that's interesting because that brings me to another question. When it comes to women, should women now in this Western society, should they be more direct in terms of their approach when they're trying to get with a guy, or should they come more, I would say, so what I would say, should they tiptoe to the answers, or like should they tiptoe in their approach when they're trying to get with somebody, especially when they start to get older? Should they still continue with the tiptoe approach and signifying to a guy subtly how to approach them, or should they come with a more direct approach? Time is of the essence. I need to like get something going now. What's your thoughts on that?
Right. I definitely feel like they should take the approach where you get a straight answer without trying to like navigate or kind of again beat around the bush.
Yeah.
I feel like most women, even when they approach a man, they always they want to know what the man's intentions are. They want to know whether is he married, on the download, does he have kids, is he in other relationships? They always want the truth.
Yeah.
And you always hear women overall saying like they hate a man that lies. That's the first thing they ask.
Yes.
What's your pet peeves? They say a liar. Or what I'm trying to say is they always want to know what the man's intentions are, straightforward. They don't want like a, like multiple headed answer. They want to know direct what's going on. So I definitely feel like the straight approach is definitely a better alternative.
That's interesting. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, me too. Honestly, I think you have to be straight up as the older you get. And I noticed that tends to work better for men too. When a woman's straight up, yes, it throws you off in terms of, not expecting, a woman to come up to you, maybe to, inquire about you or ask you about whatever and try and get to know you. Sometimes that's not what we're used to. We're used to doing the chasing, but I think as time goes on, or just even maturity, I think when you get to a certain level of maturity, you can understand that worst that's going to happen is you're going to get rejected. Someone's not going to be interested. And usually when it's on a woman's side, to be fair, even if women come up that approach men, yes, there's chance that they're going to get rejected. And obviously they're scared of that fact. But at the end of the day, like, men are going to let you down pretty easily compared to the vice versa. If you're a guy trying to pick up a girl, if you're a guy trying to pick up a woman, she's used to that. So she can give you the cold shoulder, ignore you, emphatically say no. Like, she can diss you. Like, there's so much. We've seen this online. We've seen it many situations where a girl can embarrass you when you try and pick them up. But most of the time, a guy's not going to go embarrass a woman if he's not interested. Most he'll say is, I have a girlfriend, I have a situation, or I'm not interested. They're going to let you down easy, like, for the most part. So I think that, yes, as you get older and the options are starting to, get smaller and smaller, now you have to ask yourself, okay, if I'm going to get anything close to what I want, I'm going to actually have to make the effort at this point, because when you're younger, the pool is big. You have a lot of options. A lot of people can come to you. You can roll the dice and say, well, out of, all the guys that are here, chances are it's one of them's going to approach me that I like, so you can take that risk. But as you get older, time is of the essence. You're trying to get with somebody before, time phases you out. And then your options start dropping, and then you won't have that much options anyways to begin with. So I think women do have to, as they get older, they're gonna have to learn to approach guys, be more direct, actually put themselves out there if they want that person to take them serious. Because I think by that point, men aren't necessarily going for a lot of women that would be older. They're gonna go for women that be younger, make their life easier. So if you want to compete, yes, you're gonna have to be more direct. Absolutely.
Okay, so that's interesting, because that even brings me to another question when it comes to guys and when they're in the dating market. A lot of the issues that I'm starting to see on social media, and that is really a lot of people are shedding light to it, is the height of an individual, right? And what they're able to get in the marketplace in Western society, because that's where we're in. I find it that a lot of women are having trouble with men that are of a certain height. Now, the fact that they're having issues with the guy that's a certain height, do you think that do you think finances plays a role in a woman ignoring the guy's height, or even with the finances, he will still be judged based off his height? Or do you think it's just like it's more superficial, just off, like, if we're talking about face value, that's the first thing they're going to see. They're going to knock that guy out and say, you know what, he's not what I'm looking for. And how should a guy approach situations like that? What's your thoughts on that?
Right. I personally feel like, girls, if we look at men, I feel like we're more attracted to physically,
Yeah,
the
okay.
physical aspect of things, right?
Okay.
Women are more character. But when it comes to, a man's physical appearance, most women, as we know, they don't really like short men for the most part.
Yes.
They always
Yeah.
say, they always go for the taller dude. But I feel like as a woman, she should look at the man's character as well. But then once in a while, you get the odd few that kind of, they don't really care as much
Yeah.
for height. They look to a man's personality, what he's able to bring to the table, whether they connect or not, the bond. So I feel like, women overall should definitely just kind of wait, be a little bit more patient
Patient, okay.
before even just judging a person off of their physical appearance. Give the man an opportunity, for him to see what his character is really about.
Yes.
I feel like that's important. I feel like now it's with women, they focus on two things, Well, I could say one in particular in this day and age.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all about finances.
There we
Yes.
go.
I feel like
There we go.
that, yes, we know women are not attracted to the physical look as much, but even if he's old,
Yes.
if he has the money, they're after the bag, right?
They're after the bag.
I definitely feel like women should just, take their time and get to know a man first and foremost, and everything else should fall into place. Of course, everybody has preferences,
Yeah.
but I feel like when it comes to someone being short, they be a little patient. Of course, it may not be your cup of tea, but give the man an opportunity. For
There
sure.
we go. What's your thoughts on that?
No, it's true what he said. I think that they have to practice patience, and I think you can like they say, don't
Judge a book by its cover?
well, not necessarily don't judge a book by its cover, because everyone has, like he said, their preferences. But what I would say with your preferences is that you have to be patient. Well, you have to rank your preference, and you have to rank at what importance level is that at. So whatever it is that you're judging off, say for example, if we're going off physical and you're going height is one of the aspects, say like facial features, maybe, hair on your head, like certain things. Say you're ranking every different physical attribute and you're trying to say which is most important, which is not. I just think that for height, that has to be ranked. That has to be reevaluated where it's ranked. So what the importance of something like that is, because I think, a lot of women, and it's just, don't get me wrong, the same thing would apply to men, but the difference with men is that men are mainly visual, where women, they can deal with the physical aspect, and they can, they don't need to necessarily love you or be infatuated by you through your physical appearance.
Okay.
Where men, they prefer a woman that they're like infatuated, or a woman that they're very attractive to physically before anything. That's where men put their energy towards, because that's what draw them in. That's what makes a guy decide to spend money on a woman or to spend time and effort on a woman, right? If she doesn't look the part, you don't feel that motivation. So a lot of women serve as like an inspirational figures, where guys look at a certain chick and they're like, you know what? I want to be this guy to get that girl. Like, I want to make sure I'm doing good in life. I have finances. Everything's proper. I'm groomed, et cetera, et cetera. If we never had that type of inspiration, well, we wouldn't be chasing any girl for that matter.
That is true.
Right?
Absolutely.
So I think for men, it's used as inspiration, but I think for women, it's just a preference then. So it's not as important. It's just a personal thing to themselves.
So it's more superficial, you would
It
say?
is more superficial and doesn't hold much value, like I said, compared to how a dude values a woman's appearance. And that's why women do a lot: makeup, hair, nails, spend all this time.
Yes.
Because they know that's what's catching the eyes of the men that are out there. And they understand that. And even for opportunities, it helps them, right? The better they look, chances are your opportunities are better. I just think women have to reevaluate where they rank stuff like height and some of the physical attributes someone has, because the most important thing that women tend to look for would be your financial situation, would be your character, and the provisions you're able to provide for them and a future family. So I think that's the most important thing. I think women that shoot guys that take guys out that are shorter than what their preferred height is, I think that's just a way to lose the good options you have. So I think like women have a lot of options that are good or better, but they choose superficial things that eliminate guys that would have offered what it is they wanted out of a relationship.
See, that's very interesting because that's the reason why I brought up. Well, the reason why I actually brought up the question is because I seen on an episode, the latest episode on Pop the Balloon or Find Love, there was a guy that was actually 5'4".
Yeah.
And he was in a lineup with guys that were like 6 feet, 6'1". One guy was like 6'3" over there. I mean, he seemed like he didn't stand a chance with the people that he was going up against. But I wanted to review a clip of a woman that went up to him while he was on the show. And I wanted to just talk about that actual situation and what was going on. So we're going to definitely review a clip right about now and just kind of understand what was running in his mind during that whole process, because let's just say he was having a rough night. He went up against a lot of women, and a majority of those women were definitely attacking him on his height.
We're height shaming?
It was height shaming. Right. And it's funny that you mentioned that. It's funny that you said height shaming. Because height shaming is not a thing.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Because there's fat shaming.
Yeah.
And there's
lots of things. Colorism.
There's a lot of things. There's ageism.
Colorism.
You know what I mean? So I feel like a lot of these terminologies and terms are being used when it comes down to the women. A lot of women come up with these terms and stuff of that sort just to deter men from talking about certain things that are going on.
Remember a few months ago when, or maybe even a few years ago now, the whole misogynistic thing came up?
That too.
All the women were using it.
Yeah.
It became like, that was like the word.
That was the big one, yeah.
That was a big one. And then you find out a lot didn't even know what the word meant.
Yes.
They just say it because it's a catchphrase. You know?
Yes. So there's that was the mantra at the time where, misogynistic was a thing. But now, I feel like it's fading now. I don't hear people mentioning.
I definitely feel like it's fading.
Yeah.
I think all of that's fading. But that's because these are like kind of trigger words and viral words, things that are hot for today. So I think that those were just what was very popular at the time. So like you said, there's all these different types of words. But like you said, height shaming isn't a thing. And unfortunately, guys that are short, they do have to deal with that superficiality of, women not being interested off the jump just because of the height. I understand, obviously, finances and character will be found out after. Again, they won't even get to that point.
Definitely. I definitely agree. One thing I think that they have to take into consideration is, okay, now that you're shorter than the average man, but what could you bring to, to kind of like, to step up? What attributes can you bring? Like, for example, confidence. If a man is confident in himself, the way he presents himself, the way he approaches women or female in general, in that way I feel like it could make up for it. And maybe someone who doesn't have a preference of dating a shorter man could maybe, evidently maybe change her perspective on that, depending on the individual.
But see, in that situation, like the change has to come from the woman, not the man, because the man is who he is. He's not gonna change his height. His height isn't gonna change. He's gonna have confidence, not even whether he has confidence or not. The woman is seeing the height. That's her main thing.
But she still might give him a chance.
But if that's her preference, why would she give the chance?
Because maybe he approached her in a way where like no man has ever approached her in that.
But this is what we talk about, the superficiality about it is because them having a preference of height doesn't matter for your personality. It doesn't matter what you make up in whatever field you make up in it. Whether it's even finances, you can't guarantee. Say, if I say I like a 6'5" guy, and that's what I want, you can be sick. You can be 5'9" and have money. That's not gonna change my opinion on what type of dude I want. they might not change that just based on, because they might not even give you a chance to know your personality, know what you're up to, know if you're a stand-up guy. It doesn't matter. You're 5'4".
But then it may not be one of their deal breakers. You understand what I'm saying?
Okay,
it
so
might
in
not be
that
one of the
sense,
deal breakers,
yes,
and they might,
okay.
give him a chance in other aspects that, that he's strong in.
Okay.
So this is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, that's right. Yes, you can change your. Yeah, you're right. In other aspects, you can give someone more leeway.
Right,
100%. But we were talking about a conversation like this of just going after your type, like what you like, and if a woman, say for example, you're not her preference, and she wanted you, or say a woman that wasn't, you're not her preference, but she likes certain qualities about you. Say it's money.
Yeah.
Does that make that genuine or not? Like if she doesn't like you for specific qualities, but she likes you for other qualities, like again, preference. If you like a guy that's 6'5", that doesn't change because you have a good personality. It's just to say I'm open-minded.
From person to person, for sure. I definitely feel like everyone's gonna be completely different. So yeah, it's one.
But what I'm trying to say is, do you feel that you need to check off all the boxes with someone you're with, or some of the boxes are okay?
No, not necessarily, because nobody's perfect. And I personally feel like whether it's man or woman, it's hard to check all those boxes that you're looking for.
Okay.
Because at the end of the day, nobody's perfect.
Yeah.
So you're never gonna find a perfect individual. Like a lot of us, even like they say, girls when they're at a young age, they think about like with the Disney, cartoons that they watch.
Yeah, the fairy tale,
they want
Disney
that fairy
fairy
tale
tale
with the perfect man. You want him to look a certain way. They want him to do this, but for the most part, it doesn't always come to fruition. So it's everybody, like, you can't always check all the boxes. In my opinion, I feel like nobody's gonna be perfect, but you give or take, you could find stronger traits in an individual, and then you might not get everything, but it is what it is.
I think that's why a lot of the women are failing in that sense when it comes to like choosing a mate, because they're trying to check off all the boxes, or check off a lot more boxes than they need. Right. So sometimes it only takes a couple of boxes that you need to check for something to work. But I think they're looking for this perfect person that doesn't exist. So they'll take, and that's why I always say that women shouldn't date so many people. And the reason for that is because the more people a woman date is the more people they can make a comparison with. So let's say they like one guy for a specific reason, and then another date they go on, they like another guy for another reason, and then another guy for another reason. So now by the time you get to the fifth guy, you've already built up this idea of a man that you're looking for. But meanwhile, each guy had a certain trait that you liked. Yeah. But you're trying to take all those certain traits and put that compacted into one man, and that one man doesn't have all those traits. He'll probably have maybe one or two of those traits. Yeah. But they struggle at the fact that they need a guy that has 4 or 5 of those traits. Yeah. So they'll go into their 30s, mid-30s, 40s, still looking for that guy. Yeah. But their time is really just it just keeps going and keeps going.
And they're getting older as well.
Yeah, so they're getting older, and then their pool is also dwindling as well. Because the higher you go, the less you'll see.
Well, the less you want to settle for too, right? Because you get more jaded. So you have more of a laundry list on what you want out of somebody. Instead of giving chances, you're now more specific, and that's what kills you. Yeah. But so we wanted to get into the video, though, the Pop a Balloon video, just so you can see the perspective of somebody that, is on this show and is getting rejected by a lot of the women that were on the show for his height. But we want to see what happens when he actually finds somebody that doesn't really prioritize height.
There we go. Unpack.
Awesome.
So we do have an unpopped balloon over here. Your name and age, and why do you have your balloon unpopped?
Okay, Demetrius, 37.
Oh, just waiting for the sound to kick in.
I got a theory. I ain't gonna lie. She 180, she 180, 210. Let me in, and I ain't gonna hold you. I mean, that's why I work out. Yeah, but that's why I got it unpopped. But also I got a question though. You said something. What did you do? You said
I am a loan processor
you said something else though.
and I'm an astrologer.
Okay, cause you mentioned that Leo. You big on that?
Oh, that's my business. Yeah.
What you mean? Like you do tarot cards or something?
Well, I do tarot, but my business is astrology. I do people's charts, astrocartography,
Oh.
birth charts, all of it.
Do that like is that like you still believe in God with that or how does that work?
Of course, God made the universe, right?
Okay.
God made the rocks, the earth,
What kind of
everything.
Leo? You July or you
August.
August what, like 2? Like second, I mean?
15.
Oh, the 15. Okay.
You know a lot, huh?
No, I don't know a lot. I try to get away from it. I try to get my birthday January 13th.
Okay, Capricorn.
You said it, I didn't. But yeah, got any questions for me or anything?
Yeah. Do you think that it's acceptable to lie to someone to spare their feelings?
Oh, that's a good one. Man, what you talking about? Like kids, adults,
Anybody,
old people?
Yeah.
You said anybody?
Anybody.
I always do this, but like, what? Give me a scenario.
No.
So-
Answer the question.
like the lie, like a white lie. No,
Anybody.
I think you gotta do the truth because you gotta. Cause when you lie, you're gonna just keep lying, and then you're gonna
Yeah.
forget the lie, and then it's just gonna get worse. To be honest.
Makes
Let's
sense.
just say the truth.
Okay.
Yeah.
No. Is he someone that's your type?
He is. My ex is actually, yeah.
Okay.
From
Okay. Well, let me bring you on up here. Come on up here with us, Demetrius, and I'll have you follow me over here. You can stand right here.
All right, we're gonna
Demetrius,
stop
stand
it right
here.
there.
All right, y'all.
So first of all, you've seen the height difference. Obviously, the girl's a
Yeah.
lot bigger than.
Well, we also have
than
to
she
factor
is.
in that she has heels on.
Well, okay, and I want to talk about this then too with the heels. I feel like heels are the new height.
Yes.
So whatever a woman whatever heels she's wearing,
That's
that's
the
her
height.
official height.
Yeah, for sure.
It's not what she is without heels. It's what she is with heels. So if she's taller than you with heels,
Right.
that's where she's ranking you in
Yes.
terms of your height.
Yes.
That's what I've realized now.
Yes.
Because a lot of women are criticizing guys that they're shorter than because they wear heels and then they're taller than that person. They're really going and criticizing guys and saying they're too
that
short
is true.
when they're just taller than them with the help of a 3-inch or 4-inch heel. So I just wanted to say that first of all.
Yeah, so that one is, I find that hilarious. And I always say to men that are short, you got to combat that with Timbs. You got to get some boots.
Yeah,
you
get
know?
some boots.
Some boots that can give you some height.
Give you some raise.
It's like, it gives you ammo. Like, if you're going into a war, you'll have some ammo going in. You know what I mean? You can't go out there.
Get yourself some platforms.
Oh, yeah,
Get
for
yourself
sure.
something
I mean,
that gives you a
for
little
sure,
bit of height.
For sure. I think
I think you just need to enhance yourself in anything you do. Like just like a woman, is gonna enhance her hair. She enhances her makeup, her eyelashes, her nails. She's doing things to make her look more attractive to who she wants.
For sure. Especially coming on to a show like this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where it's gonna go public and
Yes,
then
of course.
you're approached or you're facing a few women overall. So I definitely feel like you should have took that into consideration ahead of time. For sure.
Yes, exactly. Give her something and give you at least 2 inches,
Yeah,
give you at
for
least.
sure.
Exactly.
Because at the end of the day, I think, it's the same thing like we said with the height situation. You're not going to make up the difference in your height, but you can do things that help your overall look.
Sure.
And I think if you're not like conscious of those little simple things,
Yeah.
then yes, women will have more to say about you, right?
Sure.
They'll be like, you're way too short. Maybe if you're slightly taller
Right.
or certain things, right? But when they see like, dude, you're like 5'4", and as we know, you're not gonna change a woman's nature. They like what they like. At the end of the day, if you're not tall enough for the ride, guess what? You're not tall enough for the ride. We can't really say much about that.
That's hilarious. And it's funny that you mentioned that because there's another thing that's going on, which a lot of people don't talk about, but guys that are getting they're getting that surgery to
limb lengthening
Yeah.
surgery, to extend the legs.
to extend the legs.
Right.
Right? So in Turkey, it's not only about, receding hairlines, it's also about like leg lengthening.
Yeah.
Right? And people are going there intentionally to become taller. What's your thoughts on that? Do you think men should do that to themselves in order to be more viable for a woman to choose them? Or do you think that's a little too it's over the top.
Me personally, my perspective, I feel like that's extreme.
Yes.
I feel like, you work with whatever God gave you.
Yeah.
Even if you're a short individual, there's short women out there for you. A lot
Yeah.
of short women.
But,
That's one thing you have to consider, right?
but the fact that you're tall,
Yeah.
it's easy for you to say. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
you to say.
But again, I've always been on, on the perspective that natural. It's always better to, stay natural, whatever God has given you, stick to that. I feel like I'm completely against any type of surgery for enhancements. This is just my perspective that I take.
Okay.
I feel like, it's you just got to deal with it in other ways besides, because there's a lot of factors too where like something could go wrong. with
That
some of
too,
these
yeah. A lot of
surgeries.
people
For
don't
sure.
take
Let
that
alone,
into account.
this type of surgery being something that it's fairly new.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, we just started to hear about this.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So maybe Turkey might do it in a few other countries, but you don't know. That doesn't necessarily mean it's safe. Somebody might go somewhere else and do it, and then the outcome might be different from whatever you're getting in Turkey. So
And we don't
Okay.
even know the long-term effects
exactly,
yet, right?
Yeah, that's a good point.
So you don't believe in like enhancement, generally speaking, men or women. Like you're
Yeah.
just like
I feel
you
like
prefer
natural is the best
natural.
way.
You don't really
Definitely.
love this whole BBL and crazy this and
not
add
at all.
this and
So what about natural in the sense of like not waxing?
No, I'm
Stuff
talking
like
about like
that,
specifically like surgery.
surgery.
Talking about
Okay, surgery,
surgical
okay.
enhancements.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
I feel
But
like,
you still want someone you prefer women to take care of themselves,
Yeah,
of course,
of
groom
course.
themselves,
As a man,
everything of that
I
nature.
feel, as a man, you want a woman who's feminine, who takes care of herself.
Okay.
She knows how to, move and, is big on hygiene and that type
Okay.
of
Yeah,
stuff for
yeah,
sure.
yeah,
I think all
1000%.
men should be attracted to something like that. Femininity in general.
Feminine, yeah, that does make sense. Obviously, I think that's just like women and men are just like that. We have our certain traits that we look towards one another for, right? Just like as a man, we're not held to that standard, at least in terms of beauty. Like a woman's not gonna expect you to always have a fresh lineup and have your manicure, pedicure. They're not gonna expect that. They might expect rough hands. They might expect dirty. Dirty shirt, dirty collar, or whatever, depending on what it is you got done in your day and stuff like that. So,
What's your thoughts on leg lengthening?
leg lengthening, I think I feel like our society's kind of getting ridiculous, and when it comes to surgery, I think you start one thing, you just keep going down the rabbit hole. Because once you think something's wrong with you, you're not gonna stop there.
Yeah,
There's always gonna be something else wrong with you. So it could be your teeth are crooked.
Yep.
Okay, you fix your teeth. And small things is not a big deal. Like teeth is not a big
They'll do
deal. Like if
veneers,
you're just doing like braces, simple stuff, like simple maintenance is not a big deal. But when you go under the knife to completely change a look, especially if it's something that is kind of natural, like you can't really do too much about it unless it's like, of course, you have a huge nose or something that's like, very unflattering in like a photo or something like that. I can understand people fixing those type of things. But I think we're at a point, especially with women, that we're just at the point where we don't want to look real no more. We just want to look kind of fake and manufactured. And I don't believe like those type of women are even attractive. And even those type of women, they expect a certain type of guy, I feel. Like, you attract the energy you put out. So when you do that type of stuff, you treat yourself like you're a Ferrari. You're souping it up. You're adding this part, adding that part. Who do you think needs to supply the funds for the Ferrari?
That's
right?
true.
Like,
That is
somebody
true.
has to pay for that
Most
Ferrari
definitely.
and the maintenance for the Ferrari, right? But technically, it's not a Ferrari. Like, as much as we're trying to paint it like a Ferrari, it's just a hoopty that's been painted up.
Yes.
And now all of a sudden you think it's a Ferrari.
A lot of people
but
do
it's
that
not.
with their Honda Civics.
Yeah,
and
they
stuff
soup
like
up
that.
the Honda Civic,
Make it
and
better
now
than
you're
it-
thinking like this is a luxury car, but it ain't a luxury car. Once you look under the hood,
Right.
you'll figure out what's really
And
under there.
everybody
So
just sees through that. So
Yeah.
that's what I'm
everybody
saying. A
knows.
lot of people
Yeah.
see through that. So I feel like it's tough in the society we're in, but media drags you towards that, right? So a lot of men
course.
will find those women as the most beautiful, and these are the type of women that are in whatever Instagram baddies and on this show and here and there and fantasies and all that type of stuff. So I think we just have to stay away from that as men and kind of understand like natural is the way to go. Like we also can't be we can't be as superficial as well, because we do go after the certain stuff that they're selling to us, right?
Absolutely.
Like the curvaceousness and certain stuff that is sold to guys where we're more thinking about lust than character ourselves.
I
But
was
we
about to
have
say
a
that.
lot more to lose because we're the ones that put up our career on the line and our life on the line in order to make something happen. Because you're the one that's gonna get on your knees to marry. So you have to understand, like, you can't think that way as much as they do. They can think that way because they can wait there forever, and just wait to see if that comes and picks them up. But for you, you're choosing. So if you're choosing and you choose wrong, that's on your head, and your family has to deal with that. Like, if it's the wrong choice.
Yeah, I think that's another thing that a lot of men tend to forget, that how important characteristic traits are. Whereas if you want to build something long term with a person, that's what's going to be the most important. But I guess what the problem is when it comes to characteristic traits, sometimes some men can't get over how the person looks. You know what I mean? I think even with characteristic traits and a woman having good qualities, they have to have a level of physical beauty for a guy to even find out if they have the right characteristic traits, if you get what I mean.
Right.
You know what I mean? I mean, if she's excessively obese, right? There's no way in hell a guy is really gonna sit there and give her a chance. Even if she has like one of the best personalities ever, it's like I can't get over your physical beauty.
Yeah, 100%.
You know what I mean? So how can we move forward? Even you could be a great mother, you know what I mean? You could definitely be someone that people would admire if they knew your actual personality. But if you just don't have the physical appearance, who's really gonna stick around? So that's the thing about the whole case when it comes to personality and having the right character. I think it's important, but I think a lot of people overlook it at the same time. And how do you think a person should go about it in terms of, like, should they just kind of not look too heavily into a person's physical appearance, or should they have like a baseline of what the appearance should be in order to give somebody a chance in terms of their personality traits and characteristic traits?
I definitely feel like the physical attributes of an individual that you may potentially have a relationship with is very important. I feel like it goes hand in hand, because if the person is not attracted to that individual, they're not gonna give it their all in the relationship, right?
Yes,
So you kind of have to stipulate or kind of know what you're getting yourself into ahead of time. It's not like, let me try it and then we'll see how it goes. By that time, that individual might be very attached to you. You just, you get into a deeper situation. So I feel like as an individual, you should know what you're looking for to a certain degree, right? And I feel like you should be kind of, it's a two-way street. So I feel like it's important that you know what you're getting yourself into.
But like, how about if you never had that much experience? Like, say for someone that doesn't have that much experience, hasn't been dating that much, how do you know like, how would you know, like, because I know there's some people, especially when they're dealing with people, sometimes you can be attracted to someone, but you're distracted by what else is out there. And you're saying to yourself, like, yeah, this, my woman's attractive, but I'm seeing better looking women out there. Should I lean towards the better looking woman, because the one I'm with, yes, she looked good like yesterday when I seen her, but now I've been with her for a little while. I'm seeing maybe more my type outside, because like your eyes are, say you have a wandering eye, you may never be satisfied. So how do you even get satisfied with your options? Because with just women existing and temptation, and everyone knows everyone has to deal with these things, how do you think guys stay focused and say, you know what, this is good enough for me? Like, when do you get to that point where it's like, you know what, this is good enough for me? Because face it, there's always going to be someone better looking. There's always going to be somebody more desirable. There's always going to be a temptation. But how do men get to the point where they're like, you know what, I'm satisfied with what it is, even though the attraction level is not going to be, through the roof. I'm still attracted to this woman and I can build with her because the character's right and all of that. But the fact of the matter, there's better looking women out there. How do you now sustain your own relationship with that existing, the fact that there's other better looking women than yours?
I think it comes down to the individual. Like, I feel like being attracted to somebody is equally important as they have a good character.
Yeah.
And that you guys are compatible with each other. I feel like that helps because if sometimes you have the beauties there and then that character and that bond is not there, then you might just start looking elsewhere, or vice versa. Or someone has a character that you like and their physical attributes might not be they don't match, then you're gonna end up looking somewhere else. So I feel like it definitely has to go hand in hand. So
Both
I feel
have to
like
hit.
once you find someone, where you guys are kind of on the same playing field, you have the looks, you have personality, characters, all on the same level, then I feel like it kind of helps you with your longevity in the relationship.
Yeah, how to keep it together.
Right.
I definitely believe the same thing. I think if they don't go hand in hand, you're gonna struggle. I think you won't last as long as you would if you guys were pretty much even keel. I think.
But that's why I want to ask the question. So, what do you consider settling? Because is there ever a point you settle? If you chose someone, you thought they looked good and you thought everything was good, but there's women that look better, and if someone
You're content. I
have
guess
to be
the word
content?
is not settle. It's more of you're content with what you got, and it's like I could get better, but do I how much better? I think you got to ask yourself that question. Right. How much better can I do?
Mm-hmm.
Where do you draw the line?
That's my question. Where do people draw the line and say,
you draw it when you get to a point where you say, I'm content with what I got. I think I can, yes, there's a possibility I can get better, but then maybe her personality won't be as great. Then you're going to lose other attributes that the current person you're with will have. And so you're going to say, well, is it worth losing certain characteristic traits?
I feel like it's a key and it's imperative that time gets given before even molding a relationship together. So you get to know each other, on a personal level. You get to know a person's traits, what they like, what they don't like. What are some of the things that you don't like about that individual, what their standards are. So I feel like, with time, then everything becomes more apparent to a certain degree. So I feel like time is very important before you even get into a serious relationship with somebody.
That's interesting
100%.
because I think the issue with a lot of people is they don't give it time.
Right.
I think it's very cutthroat in terms of the dating market, where if they don't see certain traits that they like about you, it's easy for them to just axe you and say, you know what, on to the next. Just like with the whole dating app culture where it's swipe right, swipe left. So it's very cookie cutter. Yeah. People aren't really digging deep, trying to get to know the person, spending some time, developing a relationship slowly, and really trying to dig deep and understand who they're dealing with. So by the time you know it, they've already went through 10 different people, right? And they have nothing to show for it other than just wasting time. Because if they took one of those 10 people and said, you know what, let me dig deeper, let me spend more time with that individual, let's see what we can do on a more personal level, let's have more conversations, let me try and dig more deep. I think with those situations, those would last longer.
Yeah, and not to rush into it.
Yes, not to rush into it.
Not to rush into it. I feel like it definitely helps. Because I know some people, they bounce from relationship to relationship.
Yes.
And then once they leave a relationship, it's like, do you want to just find the next relationship?
Yes.
Why and all of that?
You patch up your
I think they're anxious.
your wounds,
they're
right?
anxious,
You patch up your wounds quickly and you don't let them heal. Right. So you just patch it up and you kind of go on to the next. And I think that's where a lot of trauma is for a lot of relationships. I think people just don't understand that you have to heal from every single situation, even if it was a good situation. I think you need time in order to find what it is you're looking for out there and what it is you're not looking for out there. Because I think with relationships, you can get to a relationship pretty relatively quickly, with somebody that you're attracted to. If you really want to open that door, you can be like, yeah, let's just try it out. Let's see how it is. It doesn't take that much for somebody to start a new relationship. But to really understand someone, that takes time. To really like get to know somebody and know if they're the person for you, that's gonna take some time. Because each time you meet someone new and you want to build something, if you think about it, to even understand if you want to really take that person serious, it can take a couple of months before you figure out, you know, just a couple things to take them serious. And then when you take them serious, you still have more questions, because as life is progressing and things are changing, you're finding out new things about themselves. They're finding out new things about you. Can they handle that? Or can you handle what it is they have to show you? So I think you do have to give yourself some time, just because if you jump into another scenario, you probably didn't close the chapter on the last book, right? So,
but that's interesting, because I also want to know, what advice would you give to a young guy that is trying to get into a relationship, in terms of how long would you say would be a good amount of time of getting to know someone before you took them seriously?
I really think it depends on, from person to person, it varies. I don't think you could give it a time limit. It's my personal perspective, because I feel like it really comes down to how much do you talk to the person.
Oh, okay.
Is that on a daily basis, once a week, twice a week? What questions are you asking? Are you even taking initiative to really get to know that person? On the receiving end, is that person really getting a chance to get to know you? So I feel like it's hard to kind of pinpoint and say a specific time, because everybody moves different. But I feel like you definitely got to give it some time to at least get a good grasp of what you're dealing with and a good idea of the person that you're talking to.
That's quite interesting.
No, you do have to give it time.
How about yourself? Do you have like a specific amount of time that you would say that a person should give an individual before they take it to the next level?
Well, again, it's gonna be based on the individual, but I do think, like, at the end of the day, it depends how much time you're spending together with this person, and the quality time. So the quality of the time. So what are you exactly doing when you're with the person? I think sometimes we believe that if you're around somebody and you're just doing stuff, whether it's like going out to eat, doing something to distract you, like an activity, or just enjoying yourself, like having fun with somebody you're with, I think we get distracted by the good times. That's one thing too. I think sometimes we get distracted by the good times, and we don't really know who it is we're dealing with. We don't ask the specific questions of the important things we need to know. I think we get caught up sometimes with just having fun, being in the moment, and then you find out later certain characteristic traits that you didn't know about, or that you're not fond of. So I think the quality of the time you spend is most important. I think you guys have to communicate. And you have to talk about things that are important to you for the relationship, and understand if you guys are in line when it comes to that. Because I think when you just focus too much on the fun aspect and the aspect of maybe getting lost in each other and lost in whatever it is you guys are doing, I think sometimes you could paint this false picture of your relationship and kind of have this idea of what it isn't. And because you're spending time and because the attraction is there, you're fooling yourself. I think you do have to ask important questions to figure out if this person's for you or if you're wasting your own time.
Not to cut you off, but I really feel like that was a good point, because a lot of times people, like, when they're getting to know somebody, they don't keep it genuine sometimes.
Yes.
I feel like that's very important, whether it's relationships or even on a marriage level.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes that's why you notice there's some divorces. Some people get divorced because it's like, okay, now I'm married to you, and this is not the person that you showed me.
Yeah.
Because you put it on the front like you're somebody else.
Of course.
That's why I feel like it's always important to be the individual that you really are. Be transparent, be like how you, like, of course you wanna some people they wanna put on a good look. They wanna basically show that, okay, I'm confident, but I feel like it's important to keep it organic. So if it's not genuine from the very start, it could all crumble down at the very end. So
yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. And I think you have to, like, ask those important questions. And like I said, you have to be intentional. Like, you can't just do something and do it. Because like I said, some people can just enjoy each other's company. Doesn't mean you're meant to be in a relationship with that person. It just means you guys get along. Just because you get along with somebody doesn't mean that's that person for you, is what I'm trying to say. So don't confuse getting along with somebody or somebody being nice as that being somebody that you're supposed to be spending all your time with and who you're trying to build with, because those are two totally different things.
100%.
Someone you don't mind compared to someone you actually like is two different things. Just because you don't mind them doesn't mean that's somebody you want to continue a future with. You have to mind them. You have to actually like them. You have to actually, want them to be a part of your life rather than if they're there, it's whatever. If they're not there, it's whatever. No, they have to be like an impactful player when it comes to this game. And I think that too much time people don't have that. They don't think about that. And they let the moments kind of blind what the reality is of the relationship. That's what I believe.
I find that funny because a lot of the times I know a lot of beautiful women in the fitness industry that are very pleasant. Like face value, if you're talking to them, you'll be like, wow, this girl's like really nice. How come she's not with anybody? And I sit there and I'm just like dumbfounded, like this doesn't make no sense. Like you're pretty, you're in shape, you're taking care of yourself, you understand your health, and every time I have a conversation with you, we're laughing, we're joking, and stuff of that sort. But then, I ask myself, is that a front? Is that real? Like what I'm seeing right now, this interaction, is it real, or is there like deeper issues that are going on that I don't know about, hence why you're still single? You get me? Especially if they get to a certain age where it's like, I would think for sure somebody would have picked you up by now, right? But then it's
100%.
like, maybe there's certain issues that I'm not picking up on that I don't know, maybe because I don't know her on a personal level. I just know her from when I see her at events, or I see her at a run club, or if I see her at certain things like a party scene and stuff of that sort, where everybody's always happy and they're positive and they're doing the whole nine.
Yep.
It's a little dance that they're doing, but maybe that's not who they are. Maybe that's the face that they put on to the world, and then behind closed doors, it's a whole different thing.
Yeah, that's why I think that like time, you have to spend the quality time. Like that's why I said
quality time.
The quality of the time is the most important. So when you're with somebody, you're figuring out what it is they bring to the table, what it is you want out of them, what it is you like about them, and they're kind of expressing that to you, so you can understand, are they there for the right reasons as well? Because a lot of guys, like say you become successful, or say you whatever, you're a person that has things to lose, you have to think about this a little bit more than maybe average people, right? So depending on where you are in life, I think you should take life serious no matter what it is, but especially if you do have something to lose, whether that's reputation. I mean, just peace. Peace should be enough for you to take things serious, because you don't want to lose your peace. Because once you lose your peace, especially when it comes to a relationship, I feel like that's the worst thing that could be lost. I think your peace of mind is the worst, because you made a decision. And when you make the wrong decision, you can end up in a bad situation. It's not like relationships take up a lot of your time. So if you make, roll the dice badly and you end up being with someone, that might be a 5-year situation where you went through hell or had to deal with problems and shit that could have been avoidable had you just chose correctly, had you just vetted properly, had you took your time and really get to know the person. Because a lot of relationships, when they end, someone gets, ruined. Someone gets the shorter end of the stick. Someone loses more than the other. So I think you have to just be conscious of that, making sure that when you do spend time with somebody, understand that it could be a great situation or it could be a terrible situation,
100%.
depending on how serious you are when you come in.
100%.
So you don't want to lead people on if you're not going to take them serious, and also vice versa. You want to make sure you know who it is you're dealing with.
That's interesting. And so we're coming close to the conclusion. I just want to hear from Muji his final conclusion on the podcast. This is your first podcast. You got to talk about a lot of discussions about relationships and stuff of that sort. What was your experience of just being on a podcast? And
Honestly, just say I wasn't prepared for this.
Yeah.
I came to check you guys out and
Yes,
kind of
yeah.
be behind the scenes, but
Yeah.
I definitely feel like it was a worthwhile discussion.
Yeah.
I felt like just being present is like you kind of exposure to. I got some exposure to what kind of issues you guys talk about.
Yes.
Yeah.
Different perspectives.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely, I feel like it was a good experience for me overall. I just feel like as every minute goes by, I'm getting a little bit more,
Yeah,
confident,
yeah.
even just because I'm not used to this. The
Oh, no,
cameras,
100%.
but
100%.
so far, it's been a beautiful experience. Thank you guys again for having me on the show.
100%,
Wish you
man.
definitely all the best in the upcoming years for sure.
Yeah, 100%,
Yeah,
bro.
for
You're
sure.
going straight to the top.
We appreciate you coming out,
Yeah.
No
sharing
doubt,
us
no doubt.
your experience of just living in the States and ATL and how things move and groove and how Donald Trump is now taking over, doing his thing, and you're going to witness it as the days go on, as the months go on. You'll get to see what's going on and what changes are going to be made. And honestly, in terms of people that are, still dating around and still trying to understand and navigate the dating world, only thing I would say is be patient. Make sure you vet properly, and then use your time wisely in the sense of where you allocate it to. Make sure that you're getting the best use of your time when you're talking to an individual, and don't be so caught up in the whole dating app world and the swiping right, swiping left. Take more time to get to know a person, and you never know how far it can go. That's all I got for it.
Yeah, I think that's the same thing. Like you said, just take your time with it. Don't get caught up in this whole social media wave of, like you said, swiping right, swiping left, trying to force the issue, force the fact of a relationship just because you feel, you're at a certain point in life and you need to meet with somebody. I think when you're desperate, that's where you make the most mistakes. I think you do have to be intentional. You have to know what it is you want, but you also have to hold people accountable for who they say they are, right? And I think a lot of people, they say they're one thing, but they turn out to be something else. So I think you just have to pay attention, and you have to challenge people you're with. I think if you challenge people, you can kind of test their character in that sense. The more challenges that you present for them, it will tell you, like, if they're resilient, if they're willing to stick around, if they're willing to endure certain things, right, just to be with you. So I think, you have to make that clear as well, that you're not somebody that's so easy to deal with. You have to make sure they know that you come with your own personality traits, for good or for bad, and they come with their own personality traits, good and bad. So you just have to know how to deal with that and navigate with your person like that.
There we go. And I think that's all we have for today's
Yes, sir.
podcast. And this is Far From Normal, and we are out.
Deuces.